Welcome to part 2 of the 4-part mini-series on building blocks of Rome research. So in later lessons, we're going to talk about block connections and block types. But before we do that, I think it's important to talk a little bit about pages. What really is the difference between pages and blocks? Many people get confused as to how they differ in Rome research. As previously discussed, pages also have their own unique identifier in your graph. Pages are the streets on which there are a collection of houses or blocks. On pages, the house can be directly on the street or it can be linked to the page through linked references. And we're going to review that in this lesson so that you can see the difference. So how do pages differ from blocks? So pages behave in a similar way to tags in other systems, in that pages collect all of the items related to a specific subject or topic that has been designated by you as something that you're interested in. So you create your own tag. However, pages have superpowers that tags don't. Pages can both hold additional information on the page as well as magically unearth related items that you did not link, but they happen to belong together. And you do that through backlinking with linked references, and also Rome does it through unlinked references. So if we go to 42 Smart Block, which is a tag that I have in my system, and we take a look at that page, you'll see that in the linked references, the 42 Smart Block page has collected all of my references to that tag. Okay, so you'll see these are all of those tags that are related to SmartBlock. So it's acting very much like a tag does in another system. However, you also have unlinked references, which will show you where I have mentioned 42 SmartBlock in other places. Of course, I've mentioned it quite a lot because I run it smart blocks all the time, so you would see them. So here are all the other places that we have run the 42 Smart Block. Okay, pages are the hunter-gatherers of Rome. There are 3 types of pages in my mind. What are those 3 types? So the first type of page is what I would call a collection or an insight page. And these are those top level pages at their most basic that are serving the same sort of function as a tag does in another system. So they serve simply as a collection point. So all related pages and blocks will appear in the linked references. This page may have simple identifying metadata, like my Rome 42 Smart Block page does right here. So it's just a description of what the page is, and but it won't have any content blocks. And you'll see that I even tag my page types because I'm a little bit nerdy like that. So you can see that this is tagged as a collection page so that I don't worry that it doesn't have any further information on it. That's one type of page. The next type of page is what I call a summary or a detail page. So a summary or a detail page has the equal collection capabilities as the page type above, but a summary or detail page also includes additional blocks right on the page. And the blocks that are on the page live there permanently. So those are the original houses that existed on that street. An example of this kind of page is my resources and reading page in this course. So if we open that up, you will see that there are links to this page. There are linked references, but this page also, when you look at the page in completion, let's close the linked references so you can see it, also has an awful lot of information directly on the page. So this is a summary, or a detail page. It's going to stay within Rome research. The last type of page that we have is what I call an output page. And an output page will collect together both referenced and original blocks into a format that is ready for output. This type of page contains more traditionally organized writing, so in paragraph format. So the blocks here may not necessarily be atomic, like the smart blocks that we're talking about within the smart block process that we study for our academic writing. They are actual collections of smart blocks together with interweaving sentences that bring together the text. So an output page could be perhaps a blog post or a sample thesis. So here is an example of the output page would be a sample thesis page. Think about pages. The way you think about pages is with the question of how do they serve my personal processes? And how will they help me deliver results, either tangible or intangible results? So outputs or thinking. A page always collects blocks together at some level. So it collects them together either as linked references or on-page blocks or unlinked references in order to serve a single purpose. A page should. So it's worth identifying for yourself what kinds of pages you want to have in your graph. And this decision is based, as all Rome decisions should be based, on what exactly you want your Rome output to be. What do you want to be your result? Because Rome is for results. So I've given you a few examples here to kind of get your juices flowing and give you some ideas. So for me, I use pages in my personal life management process. And I use pages for projects, and they are actually summary detail pages. And project pages collect together blocks that relate to a specific project. And also, they have project specific detail blocks stored directly on the page. So here is an example when I built my website what a product page might look like. It's a summary detail page. It includes linked references, but it also includes on-block information as well. I also use pages as insight pages. So insight pages will in my personal life management. So insight pages will collect together blocks that are repeated under a specific ongoing activity, a specific thing you do as part of your process that you may either want to get insight into or have easily accessible to you in the future. So, an example of an insight page that I would use is I actually would keep pages for my daily projects so I can see what I'm working on each day. I can revisit that. My weekly accomplishments, so I could revisit my weekly accomplishments. I actually would consider the to do page an insight page because it gives you insight in what you have to do. Here's an example of one of my insight pages, which is my daily accomplishments page. So every day on my daily notes page, I actually put a title called daily accomplishments and I nest underneath that each project all of the accomplishments I have made. So this is an insight page. It collects together insights and puts everything in one place so that you can revisit it easily. Here are some ways that academics might choose to type their pages. Um, First thing we have is source pages. So source pages collect together the blocks related to a specific source. So all blocks from that source actually will live on that page. So here's an example. I put a fun one in here rather than a more academic one. I'm creating a course for the undergraduates in our creative writing department, teaching them how to outline a novel. And one of the books that I'm using to guide it is Save the Cat Writes a Novel. So this is my source page for Save the Cat. You'll see that I have all of my information about that source, and then underneath you'll see the beginnings of the synthesize process, the Zettelkasten process that I go through on every source page. Another type of page that a academic might use is a thesis, dissertation, or a journal article, an output page. So this page will actually collect together reference blocks required to complete the body of the output. It will include both referenced and original blocks, or it will also include interconnective text. Another page that an academic might have is a topic page. You might decide that you want to start collecting any page, any source page, any block that actually references a specific topic. So you would have topic pages. For example, you'll have a topic called collaborative authorship. And every time you mention that or every time you work on that, that will show up on that collection insight page, similar to these collection insight pages that we have already looked at, like the daily accomplishments page. What about if you are an entrepreneur? Well, if you're an entrepreneur, you might have product pages. And this, again, the page type is the output page. So it collects together blocks related to a specific product. It has product content blocks stored directly on the page and will include both referenced and original blocks or interconnective text because the actual product lives here. So this is an example of one of my product pages. This is the actual whole product of magical academic note-taking, and these are all the lessons that are involved in that product. That's an output page. And then you can also have process pages, which are summary and detail pages. So in my graph, a process page includes all of the blocks describing or related to the process, and also includes smart blocks and other process related elements. So this is what all of my process pages look like. You can see it includes an explanation of the process. It includes the process components, the process steps, the process measurements, and also includes any smart blocks that I use as a part of that process. So that's just kind of some examples of how to think about the types of pages that you will use within your own processes based on the kind of result that you are trying to get. And also remembering that most pages should fit within one of these three types: collection or insight pages, summary detail pages, or output pages. So what types of pages do you have in your database? And can you think of something, a type of page that I haven't covered here? Next, in the next videos in this mini series, we're going to talk about block connections, which are really important, and also block types. Onwards and upwards.